October 18th, 1977, Yankee Stadium, Game 6 of the World Series. The crowd is electric, the Dodgers are desperate, and Reggie Jackson steps into the batter's box with the weight of New York on his shoulder. What happens next would cement his place in baseball immortality forever. 3 swings, 3 home runs, 3 consecutive pitches. But this wasn't just about one magical night. This was the culmination of a journey that began in the steel mills of Pennsylvania, wound through the championship dynasties of Oakland, and exploded into the bright lights of the Bronx. This is the story of baseball's first modern superstar, a man who was simultaneously the most loved and most hated player of his generation. Before we dive into Reggie's incredible story, if you're a baseball fan who loves learning about the legends who made this game great, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into baseball history. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming up on Curveball TV. Reggie Jackson didn't just play baseball, he performed it. He brought swagger, controversy, and clutch hitting to America's pastime like no one before him. From his legendary feuds with managers to his iconic postseason heroics, Jackson redefined what it meant to be a baseball superstar. But how did a kid from a working-class family become Mr. October? How did he help build not one, but 2 championship dynasties? And why nearly 50 years later do we still talk about that October night when he owned the world? Today we're diving deep into the life and career of Reggie Jackson, the man who changed baseball forever. Reginald Martinez Jackson was born in Wyncote, Pennsylvania in 1946. His father, Martinez, was a tailor who worked multiple jobs to support his family. Growing up in a predominantly white suburb of Philadelphia, Reggie learned early that he'd have to be twice as good to get half the recognition. At Arizona State University, Jackson was a 2-sport star in baseball and football. But it was on the diamond where he truly shined, hitting tape measure home runs that had scouts drooling. The Kansas City Athletics selected him 2nd overall in the 1966 draft, and by 1967, he was in the big leagues. But it was when the Athletics moved to Oakland that Jackson's legend truly began. Under the guidance of manager Dick Williams and owner Charlie Finley, the A's assembled one of the most talented and volatile teams in baseball history. Jackson was the perfect fit for this collection of misfits and superstars. The early 1970s Oakland Athletics were a dynasty. From 1972 to 1974, they won 3 consecutive World Series championships. Jackson was the heart of that team, combining raw power with an unshakable confidence that rubbed some teammates the wrong way but intimidated opponents. His most iconic moment during this era came at the 1971 All-Star Game in Detroit. In the 3rd inning, Jackson launched a home run off Pittsburgh's Doc Ellis that hit the light tower at Tiger Stadium, a blast estimated at over 520 feet. It was the kind of moonshot that announced to the baseball world Reggie Jackson had arrived. But success in Oakland came with a price. The A's were known for their internal fighting as much as their championships. Jackson clashed with teammates, management, and even owner Charlie Finley. By 1975, it was clear that Reggie's time in Oakland was coming to an end. After a brief stint with the Baltimore Orioles in 1976, Jackson became a free agent, one of the first superstars to test the new free agency waters. George Steinbrenner, the ambitious owner of the New York Yankees, saw an opportunity to make a splash. The Yankees hadn't won a championship since 1962. They had talent: Thurman Munson, Greg Nettles, Ron Guidry, but they lacked that superstar presence. Steinbrenner offered Jackson a 5-year, $2.96 million contract, making him one of the highest-paid players in baseball. But Jackson's arrival in New York wasn't smooth. The Yankees had already established stars, particularly catcher Thurman Munson. who was the team captain and emotional leader. Jackson's larger-than-life personality immediately created tension in the clubhouse. The situation exploded during spring training in 1977 when Jackson gave an interview to Sport magazine. In it, he made the infamous comment, "I'm the straw that stirs the drink. It all comes back to me. Maybe I should say me and Munson, but really he doesn't enter into it." Those words created a rift that would define Jackson's early years in pinstripes. Munson, a proud and fiery competitor, felt disrespected. Other teammates questioned whether Jackson was more interested in personal glory than team success. If Jackson's relationship with his teammates was complicated, his relationship with manager Billy Martin was explosive. Martin was a former Yankees player who embodied the old-school, blue-collar approach to baseball. Jackson represented everything Martin disliked about the new generation of players: flashy, outspoken, and expensive. The tension between Jackson and Martin reached its breaking point on June 18, 1977, during a nationally televised game against the Boston Red Sox at Fenway Park. In the sixth inning, Jim Rice hit a bloop single to right field. Jackson appeared to jog after the ball, allowing Rice to reach second base. Martin was furious. He immediately sent Paul Blair to replace Jackson in right field. As Jackson returned to the dugout, Martin confronted him. What followed was one of the most shocking moments in baseball history. A manager and his star player nearly coming to blows on national television. "You showed me up out there," Martin screamed. "I wasn't showing anybody up," Jackson fired back. The confrontation had to be broken up by coaches and teammates. The image of Jackson and Martin being held apart in the Yankees dugout became one of the most iconic photographs in sports history. The incident created a media firestorm. Newspapers across the country covered the feud like a soap opera. Some fans sided with Martin, the scrappy manager trying to maintain discipline. Others supported Jackson, the superstar being unfairly targeted. Despite all the drama, the 1977 Yankees were a talented team. They won 100 games and captured the American League pennant. But it was in the postseason where Reggie Jackson truly earned his legendary nickname. The Yankees faced the Kansas City Royals in the American League Championship Series. Jackson hit .286 with 2 home runs, helping New York advance to their first World Series since 1964. But it was the World Series against the Los Angeles Dodgers where Jackson became immortal. The series was tied 2-2 heading into Game 5 at Yankee Stadium. Jackson homered in the 8th inning to help the Yankees win 4-2, giving them a 3-2 series lead. Game 6 was October 18, 1977. The Yankees led the series 3-2, but the Dodgers weren't going down without a fight. In the 4th inning, Jackson came to the plate with Thurman Munson on first base. Dodgers pitcher Bert Hooton threw a fastball, and Jackson turned on it, sending it into the right field seats. 2 innings later, Jackson faced Elias Sosa with 2 men on base. Again, he connected, this time sending the ball even deeper into the right field stands. But Jackson wasn't done. In the 8th inning, with the Yankees leading 7-3, he came up against knuckleballer Charlie Huff. On the first pitch, a knuckleball that didn't knuckle. Jackson launched his 3rd home run of the game, this one reaching the black seats in center field. 3 swings, 3 home runs, 3 consecutive pitches from 3 different pitchers. Yankee Stadium erupted. Even the Dodgers fans in attendance stood and applauded. As Jackson rounded the bases after his 3rd homer, the crowd chanted, "Reggie, Reggie, Reggie." It was a moment of pure baseball magic, the kind that transcends the sport itself. The Yankees won the game 8-4 and captured their first World Series championship in 15 years. Jackson had hit .450 with 5 home runs and 8 RBIs in the series, earning World Series MVP honors. That October night transformed Jackson from a controversial figure into a Yankees legend. The nickname Mr. October stuck, and for good reason. Throughout his career, Jackson hit .357 with 10 home runs in World Series play, numbers that speak to his ability to rise to the occasion when the stakes were highest. The Yankees repeated as champions in 1978, with Jackson again playing a crucial role. His relationship with Billy Martin remained volatile. Martin was actually fired and rehired multiple times during Jackson's tenure, but there was no denying the results. Jackson's impact went beyond just his performance on the field. He was baseball's first truly modern superstar, embracing the spotlight in ways that previous generations of players never had. He appeared in commercials, dated celebrities, and wasn't afraid to speak his mind to the media. This approach made him a polarizing figure. Yankees fans loved his clutch hitting and larger-than-life personality. Opposing fans despised his arrogance and showmanship. Teammates were split. Some appreciated his talent and leadership, others found him selfish and attention-seeking. After 5 seasons in New York, Jackson signed with the California Angels as a free agent in 1982. Many consider these his forgotten years, but Jackson continued to produce at a high level well into his 30s. In his 5 seasons with the Angels, Jackson hit 123 home runs and drove in 374 runs. He helped the team reach the playoffs in 1982 and 1986, though they fell short of the World Series both times. The Angels' years showed a different side of Jackson, still productive, but without the constant drama that had defined his time in New York. He was older, more mature, and focused on extending his career rather than creating headlines. When Jackson retired after the 1987 season, he had accumulated impressive numbers: 563 home runs, 1,702 RBIs, and a .490 slugging percentage. But his statistical achievements only tell part of the story. Jackson changed what it meant to be a baseball superstar. Before Reggie, most players were expected to be humble and differential. Jackson showed that athletes could be confident, outspoken, and commercially savvy without sacrificing performance. He paved the way for future superstars like Ken Griffey Jr., Barry Bonds, and Derek Jeter, players who understood that baseball was entertainment as much as competition. Jackson's influence extended beyond the field. He was one of the first athletes to truly understand the power of personal branding. His candy bar, his commercials, his memorable quotes, all of it contribute to a larger-than-life persona that transcended baseball. Reggie Jackson was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1993, his first year of eligibility. The Yankees retired his number 44, and he remains one of the most recognizable figures in franchise history. But perhaps Jackson's greatest legacy is how he changed the relationship between athletes and fans. He showed that sports figures could be complex, controversial, and compelling all at the same time. Love him or hate him, you couldn't ignore Reggie Jackson. And on those October nights when the lights were brightest and the pressure was greatest, there was no one you'd rather have at the plate. That's the story of Mr. October, a man who didn't just play baseball, but transformed it forever. What do you think made Reggie Jackson so special? Was it his clutch hitting, his personality, or something else entirely? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed learning about one of baseball's most fascinating superstars, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our deep dives into baseball's greatest legends. We've got plenty more incredible stories coming your way here on Curveball TV. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time for another legendary baseball story.